I thank you to the organizers of Ziauddin University, including Professor Suhail, Professor Imtiaz Hashmi, Rees, and Nadeem Baloch. They are expert as well, along with my other expert, Professor Nizamuddin Jamili, who is my mentor. So today, my presentation is on the up to the evaluation protocols and the screening protocols of the DDH. And next three lectures will be on the first will be 0 to 1 year age, and then 1 year and above for surgeries, different osteotomies. I will play in video as well. Today as well, I will have a play of the screening protocols on the models which I developed in 2010. These are my expert. He taught me, Professor Nizamuddin Jamili, who taught me orthopedics since 1983, and especially the arthrogram. He trained with me on arthrogram and DDH treatment. At that time, we used to do the tractions management initially on the Gallows traction and onward. And thank you to Imtiaz Hashmi as well for his presence as expert. So my agenda today is pathoanatomy, evaluation tools, screening protocols, details of ultrasonography, details of the radiograph, and then I will present also autonomy Barlow maneuver, which I have myself developed, and it is light. It is available on the YouTube as well. So here, when you see the DDH, from beginning to the full-fledged deformity of the displacement, along with the different type of the problems inside and the soft tissue and bony, I will go a little detail. And there are four types of in DDH screening protocols. Before 90s, it was said as CDH, congenital dislocation hip. But then it was changed because of the certain unstable hips which develops later in the life, and the subluxated hips which develops later in the lives and produce in arthritis. The frank dislocation and was also there. So therefore, there are four areas: unstable hip, subluxated hip, dislocated hips, dysplastic acetabulum, which usually is seen in the adults nowadays. One of the students of the after 22 years age medical student coming with the dysplastic, she was not knowing about this testicular dysplasia. And latest addition is focal femoral deficiency type 1 and 2, which has been also included in the DDH spectrum. So if you go in the details, normally there is an labrum which is everted out. There is a capsule here, and then there is a synovial tissue and the ligamentum teres, which arise from the triradiate cartilage within an artery. This artery supply 15% of blood supply to the femoral head. Otherwise, 85% blood supplies through this retina coeli fibers from here, which enters. Therefore, when we will discuss the surgery, it is allowed to cut the teres ligament because it becomes hypertrophied. Therefore, because it only supplies the 15% and it takes no effect on the production of the AVN. Here is the frank dislocation, which shows you the femoral head. It is epiphysis, which develops physis of the femoral head, which usually develops within 1 year of the in the cases. But in case of DDH, sometimes it do not appear even up to the 18 months of the age. Here is the elongated ligament, which is usually well found at hypertrophy in the smaller children. As the age goes up, this instead of hypertrophy, they become more hypertrophic or atrophic. Then there is a soft tissue here. And if you go to soft tissue, this is called pulvinar. Pulvinar is fibrofibrous tissue, which is filling the acetabulum because head is not inside. If you go to previous slide, you will see the labrum here, which is everted, outside lying. It increases the capacity of femoral head. It increases the deepens the femoral acetabular component. But in the DDH, because of this pressure, it is everted here. And you will find this also cause the disturbance in the reduction. This is called inverted labrum, which is hypertrophic. Labrum in the 12 years of age develops further, which we call Morrison's physis, and it produces a further deepening, bony deepening of the. Therefore, when you go for the surgery, you never cut transversely, never cut circumferentially because it contains the physis. Then there is a what are the tissues are in the problems? There is a thickened capsule which you find on the surgery. There is a capsule here, and then this inverted labrum, which is very much thick. I will show you in the next presentation. It is up to the 1 centimeter thickness. Then the contracted muscles, the iliopsoas, rectus, abductors, adductors, hamstrings all become tight. Here is the iliopsoas, which is present here, and it becomes elongated. It also produces the dumbbell appearance on the capsule because of the constriction bend, which we call. But regarding the glutea usually don't shorten. They become wrinkling. When you pull down the head, they get elongated. It is wrinkled because it is now placed horizontally instead of vertically. Therefore, it makes no difference, and there is no need of the lengthening of the glutea when you do the surgery. It is wrinkled. Then shortened sciatic nerve, because it is dislocated and sciatic nerve becomes shortened, and this is the iliopsoas tendon which is attached here, and it produces a dumbbell effect on the ढोलकी जिसको कहते हैं dumbbell effect, central constriction here, central constriction because of this tendon. And when you deal with the surgery, we only cut the tendon because muscle get stretched, but tendon, when you cut the tendon, the obstruction goes off. Then shortening sciatic nerve and shortening femoral nerve as well because of this dislocation femoral. After shortened or distorted femoral nerve, there is also profunda femoris artery, which is here, which is usually can be damaged, a branch of that when you are doing the transverse acetabular ligament cut. So be careful for that. So distorted anatomy usually affect the soft tissues and bone, and short are the mostly adductors, which is here, adductor longus, which is shortened, rectus femoris, hamstrings because they arise from the here and goes to the femur there and the gluteus. Then there is also, as the age increase, there is a bony changes. So bony changes occurs because the head is out. So normally child is born with the 170 degree of the antiverse of the coxa valga. This reduces when the head is inside the acetabulum, but when it is out, it do not reduce, and it continues a coxa valga. When there is a coxa valga, there is antiversa as well. It means the femoral condyle and the transverse axis of the neck are not producing the normal angle of 130 degree. Since the head is out, there is obtuse acetabulum, vertically oriented acetabulum. Angle more than 30 degree is called DDH. Then because of the pressure of the femoral head, their head become acorn shape. Acorn shape, I will show you how, and vertically oval. The elongated like in this direction. Instead of round, it become oval, vertically over. And next slide, we can see this is the acorn seat. And this is the ligamentum teres in the femoral head. You can see here, shape is similar, they like, and there is an overhang of the hypertrophied. So there is an overhang hypertrophied. This is the femoral neck, and here is the overhead femoral overhead hypertrophied, ovally, vertically enlarged head, and then the ligamentum teres, which is straight. And here is the thick capsule. You can see how thick capsule is. It is not really, it is not so thick, but it is really. So it is an oak seed, which we call acorn shape. Acorn shape is the flattening on the one side and rounding all around. That is called acorn shape, flattening on one side. So here is the soft tissue obstacles. You can see the capsular dumbbell here. So this is the capsule. I have cut from here, from here, the iliopsoas tendon. So there's one portion of the is this, other portion of the elongated capsule is this. So this appears like a dumbbell central constriction. Then ligamentum teres become thick and elongated like this. This is the acorn shaped femoral head, this thick capsule, and here is the ligamentum teres. You can see how thick it is attached on the femoral head. So this thick element, when present in the acetabulum, if you will not remove, then this will produce obstruction in the reduction. Here is the another view. This is more than 1 centimeter thick and elongated capsule here. And this is the thickness of the capsule. I will show you this from here to here is the hypertrophic thickness capsule. Then in the center, you will find the pulvinar, probably I have seen in the second slide here. So after all dissection, cutting the ligamentum teres, this shows this is the acetabulum here. And when you remove this acetabulum from fibrofatty tissue, this is called pulvinar. If you not remove the pulvinar, it will remain in between the head and the acetabulum, and it will produce an obstruction that we call the interposition of the soft tissues. So after this clearance of this pulvinar, you find this acetabulum so deep, and when you go, this goes cut inside. It is very easily removed. So there sometimes the patient comes to you like this position. This is all my cases, none from the net. Normally you find a developed femoral head less than this side. This is again also called as a AVN Salter type of 1. But this cartilage pressure produces a double acetabulum here. in this. But in this case, there is no femoral head. It has been not yet developed, though her age was 18 months. Maybe because of the pressures, because of the vascularity changes, but when you reduce this femoral head, it produces significant hypertrophy of femur. Look at the acetabulum. This is more than 45 degrees angle, so obtuse acetabulum. So following this anatomy, now I will concentrate on the screening tools. Screening tools usually are two types. One is the screening protocols, which are clinical, and then the clinical focused examination of the limb itself. Following that, you do the ultrasonography, radiography, which is more appropriate after 6 months of the age, and arthrogram, particularly to see, evaluate whether you have reduced the femoral head or not. So early diagnosis is very important. In 1948, it was said diagnosis is essential to achieve the best result. Artolani stated that, because with a longer period of subluxation and dislocation, as we discussed, there is more soft tissue contractures and cause development of the bony deformity that we call fossa valga anteversa, but typically results in need for the multiple greater surgical intervention as the age increased by 6 months. Every 6 months as age increase, the step of the reduction or surgery increases. Therefore, it was a dream in 1923 by Abu Danani. He was the main person who was studying at that time in the Europe, and he said to achieve the best functional result in CDH, it is just a dream for me, because there was no screening protocols and no X-rays available at that time. So CDH was the only deformity which was among the congenital abnormality. They were unrecognized at the birth until a child started walking and the crawling. And the best functional results can be achieved if the treatment is started within first few days. This was a statement of 48 by Artolani, who develops the screening protocols. So if you look all these deformities, there is a PS deformity, radial hemimelia, there is a torticollis, you can find the clubfoot, you can find the pseudoarthrosis and the radial head. Yes, deformity, radial absence of the radius, you can find the inhum, you can find the knee dislocation, but you cannot find here a CDH which is easily recognizable. That's why they said this DDH is an obscure deformity and it appears after walking it. But today there is an ultrasound, there is a further tools available, and therefore from 48 to 1968 certain screening protocols were developed, and they started early detection of DDH before the start of the crawling, and crawling age considered is 5 to 7 months. Thereafter, when they developed the screening protocols, there were multiple challenges there. One of the which type of screening protocol, when the screening protocol should be done. Then there was the early treatment, how to treat early. And injudicious treatment must not be done, because every patient, when they were suspected, they were placing in the braces and they were developing AVN. So they developed in the when and when not be given the early treatment. And then today, they have the problem of primary acetabular dysplasia, which they are managing by the osteotomies and the THR as well. So this is the screening protocols which were developed in 48, 60, and then 80s. In 48, these were the protocol of Artolani and the Bartlos. He developed. This is my own patient in the NMI. And then in 80s, there were ultrasonography introduction. So the Artolani and the Barlows, they introduced 8 birth screening. All the babies born must be screened for the protocol of with the screening protocols. And then they came to know that there are certain DDH which itself reduces. And this is the deep crease which were clinically feel would indicate around the dislocation of this. There is no significant crease, but here is a deep inguinal crease like this and this one, extra crease. They indicated this must have a DDH, so this child is usually for the screening protocols and ultrasonography, and objective was to detect the instability of hip, subluxation and dislocation. This was the time in 60s. The pelvic osteotomy was introduced by Salter, and Harris was also studying on acetabulum development, and they further produced literature for this. This is again the details of the Artolani test which were developed in the 48, and Artolani test is basically a test to reduce the femoral head in unstable, which are dislocated hips, it has to be maneuvered like this maneuver you can see here, like this and this. So we will also play a video when you do, and this maneuver reduce dislocated hip in abduction. In redirecting the femoral head is very important. How to reduce? It is not only do the abduction, but your fingers must also aid to the dislocated hip to reduce it. And feeling a gentle click, not the full voice, but a just fine click you can feel and you can hear. And it is positive only up to the 8 weeks. Best time is the 8 weeks, but available present usually up to the 7 months of the age. Then this is the details of the how a gentle click is felt. This is the abduction and the direction of the femoral head to the acetabulum so that it is reduced. Normally you can find there is a less abduction here. There is a fully abduction here. Normal side, when you reduce it, the both of the hip becomes equally abducted if this dislocation. This is called click. There is a discussion whether it is a click or a clunk. Clunk is the audible voice, which is usually in the mature hip joint you can feel after 7 months of the age. Here is the Barlow's test. He actually invented this dislocated unstable hips. But Artolani was for particularly when there is a crease, there is a dislocation hips, you have to reduce it. That is called Artolani test. But he developed a maneuver. He combined the Artolani test to reduce the hip and redislocate the hip to understand whether hip is stable or unstable, or really there is an instability of. So discussion for instability of his hip was with the maneuver of the Barlow's in 1962. This is 4 years after the, and he says many of the pathology changes occurring in the DTH generally reversible in 95% of the cases with simple means of the abduction splints, and thereby they started to using the abduction splint. So here is the clink of exit. When you relocated hip by the Artolani maneuver, then you have to dislocate the hip. Maneuver is to push the femur down and adduct here so that the hips comes out and it produces a voice. That is called the clunk of the exit. And it is the Barlow's maneuver. It is the combination of the reducing the hip and redislocate the hip. That is called Barlow's maneuver. And here is the diagrammatic representation of both. This is the Barlow's maneuver, pushing back, and the adduction, doing adduction and dislocating the hip. If hip do not dislocate easily, it means there is something, but it is unstable. And this is the pulling up and redirecting the femoral head towards the acetabulum. This was the details of the Artolani and Barlow maneuver. Following that, now I will go when it was implemented. So this was the basically initially in 48 to 60, it was 8 births. Every child was screened for this. Then they adopted this as in the UK and Europe as a neonatal screening. Up to the 7 months, who do not have a screening on the first vaccination, they can do this. And the introduction of the unstable, they were redesigned, particularly with the addition of the ultrasound. This brings a revolution. Okay, which hip is really unstable or later developing. So this was the by Haeckel in 1980s, and then 86, the end 2000, the dynamic scan were used. So this is the type of the ultrasonography, and the position of the hip. Most of the time it is done in this way, but some people go through the inguinal ligament as well. But this coronal planes imaging is very important. You can see here by relying on the supine and this little bit rotation, they place this vertically so that you can get a coronal plane ultrasonography of the hip joint. This is the X-ray picture. You must keep it in mind. In the next slide, it will help you which structure is the labrum, which structure. So this is again the position of hair. It will give a diagrammatic representation like this. But if we convert this with the coronal plane, and if we convert this, so here this is the gluteus maximus, here is the labrum, here is the axis of the bone. This is called the bony axis, like this, bone of the axis of the ilium. So there is a labrum here, then there is a acetabulum here, and the bony structure of the ilium. Bony structure of the ilium is this. So ilium is a transverse axis. Then there is a cartilage here, acetabular cartilage, Over the acetabular cartilage is the labrum, and this is the capsule, and this is the greater trochanter, which is here. So greater trochanter, capsule, the labrum, and then the ilium, and posteriorly you will find the iliac bone. So they draw a multiple lines on this, and this is the focus of the femoral head. This is the greater trochanter. This is the labrum. This is the capsule. This is the bony. This is axis of the ilium. This is the anterior coverage of the bone that is called ilial portion of the acetabulum. This is triradiate cartilage, and after triradiate, this is the ischium, and here is the femur. So you must, this is femoral head, trochanter, labrum anteriorly. This is the cartilage. This is the capsule. This is the iliopsoas tendon, rectus femoris tendon, and this is the iliac bone, and this is the iliac bony portion of the ilium. This is triradiate cartilage. I repeat because you must understand this figure easily. Then transducer, if it is placed like this inflection, you get more information of the containment. This is the femoral femur here and the greater trochanter. Agar femoral head, this is the glutei and the muscles. This is the labrum. This is the ischium. So transducer placed in the different way. So now ultrasonography, they're given the two baselines. One baselining along the ilium through femoral head to the point where pericardium unite with the pericardium is the virtually cartilaginous portion over the bone. So this is the transverse axis, which is the main baseline axis, which is called femur. This is the junction of the pericardium with the bone. Then a second line, which is called roof line. Roof line along the acetabulum roof, intersecting the baseline from lower edge of the ilium at the triradiate cartilage to point with pericardium. So here is the triradiate cartilage. This is the pericardium attachment to the bone. So this is called the roof line. This is called the roof line. And roof line indicates the bony coverage, this axis. Then comes the transverse or inclination line, how much the cartilage or acetabulum is inclined across the top of the femoral head. So from top of the femoral head, again on the same junction point. So these triangles it produces, which is called beta triangle, and this is called alpha triangle. This is alpha triangle, transverse line, roof line, femoral top baseline. So here is the acetabular labrum, this is cartilage, this is the triradiate cartilage, this is the ischium, this is greater trochanter, this is femoral head, this is the bony ilium. So they produce the two angles. One is the beta angle, and other is the alpha angle. Beta angle usually is for subclassification, and it informs about the labrum, how much labrum is developed. And this indicates how much roof is developed. So this angle, alpha beta angle, alpha angle is persistently permanent angle and less variable as compared to the beta angle. So there is an alpha angle and then there is a beta angle. If you come here, again you find there is a labrum, development of the cartilage over the bone. And then there is a roof that is called triradiate cartilage. And this angle, alpha and beta, are fixed angles. And normally, the beta angle is less than 55 and alpha angle is more than 55. So it is written here, alpha angle to indicate the degree of acetabular development and the depth of the acetabulum, while alpha angle determines the type, the beta angle determines the subtypes. So here is again a beta angle, and this is the alpha angle, this is bony portion, this is cartilaginous portion. Alpha angle reflects the depth and the slope of the acetabulum. Normally it is more than 60 degree, and angle less than 50 degree, 55 degree indicates the disorder. So if you consider these two lines, if angle is increasing, this angle increase, it means the bone is developing, coverage is more good and depth of acetabulum is more. But if alpha angle reduces, it means the bone from this area to this area reduces. So when bone reduces, the alpha angle decreases. When the bone reduces, naturally there is cartilage portion and more and less development of the labrum as well. So alpha angle when reduces, the beta angle increases. So keep in mind, if alpha angle reduces and beta angle increases, it means there is a hip is subluxating out and acetabulum become more obtuse, and it produces the dysplasia of the acetabulum. So here is the beta angle again. We already described less than 55 degrees. So if beta angle decrease, the alpha angle increases, and it produces more acetabular verticality and subluxation of hip. While in protusoacetabulum, alpha angle increase more and beta angle is reduced, and it goes in the mode. That is not our concern today. So this beta angle usually denote a subluxated or displaced femoral head. Again, you can see in the vertical directions here, alpha angle and the beta angle. Alpha angle should be more than 65, beta angle less than 55. And if there is a difference, then the alpha angle increases, beta angle decreases, alpha angle decreases, beta increases. It means the hip is coming out, subluxating like this. So it decreases the depth of the acetabulum. So again, same description here. Normally there is a beta angle here and there is alpha angle here. When the head reduces, the cartilage bone portion reduces like this, the alpha angle decreases here, alpha angle, and the beta angle increases because there is a bony deficits increases. So here is the another view, rounded, intended, subluxated hip. How do this appears? The green is the roof angle again, and yellow is the labrum. And when there is a subluxation, this yellow also reduce, and it produce more obtusity, and alpha angle reduces as the bone developments become, and red is the shallow acetabulum. Following that, there is multiple types of the gracicle, and this is mostly particularly for the research purposes. I will not go into detail. You can read after this slide share on this. This indicates alpha angle is less, increases more than 53 months of age, and the development of the acetabulum type 2 subluxation, and then type 3 means alpha angle is less than 40 degree. It produces dislocated hip, and high dislocations both are disturbed. So it is further subtyping of grass-like. There are limitations as well, particularly age. This ultrasound works up to the 6 months of age. After that, X-ray is more reliable because they cannot tell you if there is a dislocation, frank dislocation. They will tell you with the dynamic split, dynamic ultrasound, that it is dislocatable, yet dislocatable. And I have an example in the next presentation. I will show you how they negate. But if the baby is 12 months or greater, they produce greater extra creases, normally visible, and X-ray is a good tool for this. Equipment selection is also very important. Karachi, I have found only 4 or 5 good ultrasonographic results. They shows in Aga Khan and Ziauddin and the ARC and the team. 5 people only taken, because in newborn up to the only 12 megahertz probe is sufficient. But when the age increase about 3 months, it needs a higher good probe to indicate the dislocation. Then patient preparation is also very important. He must be relaxed. He must be with the parents. He must be better is to have an parents' laps. And sometimes they give the syrup to make them temper and less irritable. If they are irritable, this ultrasound will not give a good results. Then who should be for the screening protocol? So there is a very good picture here. The patient having torticollis, female child, and then child having a history of the DDH in the family, and then if there is a breech presentation or metatarsal adductus or rocker bottom deformity, foot deformities, neck deformities, and the family history and breech presentation. These are the people which are prone for the dislocation. They must be screened at the birth and at the neonatal time, and also support with the ultrasound. That's why with this risk factors, they now call primary screening program in the newborns, not at the birth. And there were reasons for that. Since 80s, baby increasing use of dynamic splint and ultrasound babies, as a reduced number of the newborns of unstable hips treated the abductions were more than 70 degrees. So reduction from common in the 60s or 40s, they were common, they were late diagnosed. Now the 70% of them got treated, having good splints and good results. Unnecessary use of abduction splint and complication were reduced after the introduction of ultrasonography. Nowadays, in 2002 literature, it is a late presentation is never seen in the European or a community where the screening protocols are observed. But this presented the results of the sometimes there is a late development of DDH, which we also call as a mis-DDH, mis-dislocations. And the result is 2.5% to 18% up to the European side and the developed world. But in our part of the world, it is 45% to 50% children comes to us after walking age. I consider crawling. जब खड़े होना शुरू होता है, crawling age is a walking age, and this location is the more than the data we don't have. And after this registry which we have developed, inshallah, we will come to know the results. So hips were unstable at birth, present later. They were unstable. They were not. They have done the screening protocol. There was no dislocation, but sometimes they missed. And in these children, which are high risk patients, they do the high risk patient by the sequential examinations by ultrasound and clinical modalities. So the missed dislocation signs are which you have very worse about this: less than full abduction, asymmetric thigh folds, deep and long inguinal crease, which you can found at the time of birth, and the negative Thomas. Thomas test up to the 15 month of the age at the children is positive because hip has natural contraction, knee has natural contractures, which is up to the 3 months, normal to 3 months out must be present. If it is not present, it means there is a problem in the hip joint and the telescoping and shortening of the length. So here are the deep screening inguinal crease along with an extra crease. There is no extra crease here, and there is a shortening here, and shortening also the Galeazzi test, and the limited abduction while changing the nappies. These are the findings of the missed dislocation. Again, in the Campbell's photo, which in my age group, the deep inguinal crease, extra crease, but not on other side. So she may have a dislocation on this side and less abduction on this side. Is the signs of missed dislocation. So missed dislocation may which tool of the works is the mostly it is the X-ray which helps you. Otherwise, in the primary screening, it has a no role. So it has a positive role of the X-ray in missed dislocation and secondary follow-up after 7 months and with different parameters we will discuss later. So X-ray is a reliable tool after 4 or 6 months of the age, used for diagnosis, monitoring, and follow-up, and it is a surrogate, absolute measure, to indicate after 2 years of the age. If you find X-ray after 7 months baby, you cannot find the femoral head, but with the certain parameters like the vertical line and horizontal line, you can indicate which hip is inside, which hip is out. Like this X-ray, you can find, normally you cannot see, but if you follow a Shenton line here and the distance from triradiate cartilage to the hair, you will find this hip is okay like this. While on this hip, there is no femoral head, so you cannot say. So the metaphysis of this femur, this metaphysis, is seen not in this inside lower triangle, but outside and upper triangle. So this hip seems to be a dislocated hip. So again, this same parameters on my same patient and another patient here, you'll find a normal hip, a Hellinger line and the vertical line you form, and then the acetabular index as well, which must be at the age, birth age 30 degrees and gradually decrease up to the 22 degrees. The Hellinger line is horizontal line, Perkin line is vertical line. So in this case, particularly in both these cases where you can find the femoral physis, you cannot find the femoral epiphysis. If compare this with this figure, so there is again the same the line outer touching other, but not here. It must be here. So there is a broken Shenton line here, normal Shenton line here. This physis inside lower quadrant. This side metaphysis is there, but the physis is the outside, not here. So this is a subluxated or dislocated, frank dislocated hip. We further evaluate with another parameter, acetabular index, sometimes wide nearly towards the acetabulum. So Shenton line is broken. It is lateral to the Perkin line above the horizontal. So it produces another type. Then if you are in suspicion, or in case when you apply the plaster, you can do the von Rosen view. So von Rosen view is done particularly 45 degree of the abduction of the hip joints like this, and internal rotation of 25 degrees. When you do internal rotation, then the femoral head becomes prominent. So when you draw an axis along the femur, that this line normally should cross through the acetabulum at any point through the acetabulum. Best is through the triradiate cartilage. It should cross through the triradiate cut, but even if it is crossing the acetabulum any portion or the same side of the SI joint, then it is called normal. But if it is this line is out of the acetabulum edge and crossing towards the other sacroiliac joint, then it is called subluxed or dislocated hip. This is again another example. It's normal side on this side. It is touching to the air, but if you do the internal rotation, it will really touch from this triradiate cartilage and go through the same SI joint. But if it is dislocated, it could not go to the same SI joint, but it is out of the acetabular edge and it crosses opposite SI joint. So this is for 45-degree abduction on both and internal rotation, that is called von Rosen view. So this is one of my patients who came with me post-op X-ray follow-up for some referred from somewhere else. I feel that you must have a second opinion. So I draw this line and found this acetabulum is crossing through the triradiate cartilage, but here triradiate cartilage here it is just above the edge. So in this condition, there is a suspicion that there is no reduction of the acetabulum here. Therefore, we use further tools, which is called, this is the basically Tonnes graft and Tonnes grading, and there is a universal grading as well. In this recent cases, there are three types: normal, there is a vertical line here, and then a line from the edge of the acetabulum here, Tonnes grading ke liye, and then you find inside normal. But if it is outer, if it is below this line and below lateral to this is called type 2 dislocation, 2 height of dislocation of the acetabulum, like in this case. So here is the type 2 dislocation bilaterally. Type 2 bus acetabulum angle is around 40 degrees. And if you find another case, she presented 19 months of the age. She was nowadays grown up 10 years old child. I will present this case in the next meeting, next class. So if you do the Tonnes grading in this particular case, it is type 3. It is above this line, type 3 Tonnes grading. But frank dislocation of the 10 years age is also girl become very good after reduction. So here you find frank dislocations, type 4 Tonnes grading. So when another parameter of the judging on X-ray is the central edge angle, particularly in post-reduction in adults. We see how much coverage of the femoral head is, how much femoral head is uncovered. So if you compare these two figures, this will indicate you uncoverage of femoral head. So it is the center point where the physis and epiphysis unite. Center, take a vertical line up and another line from the angular acetabulum here. This indicates of the CE angle. In 6 up to the 13 years, it is greater than 19 degree. If this angle increases like this, it means the coverage is more on this side. If this angle reduces, it means bony coverage is less as compared to the. Yeah. So after 13 years, this must be 25 to 45 degrees. 35 to 45 degrees acceptable. But if the angle reduces, this means the head is either uncoverage. If the angle is goes to the negative side, it means she is developing a protuser acetabulum. If we compare this, there is this edge center angle here, and it is along the region 15 or 20 degrees, 15 degrees here. So this is more head is uncovered. There is a subluxated hip, obtuse acetabulum, and uncovered femoral head. There is more details of another subtypes of this available, which we don't need to discuss here. Then angle of anteversion, how to check on the X-ray. Do the abduction, place the patient on the table and abduct and internal rotate. Abduct and internal, you will find a normal angle with this top of the acetabulum and angle of the axis of the femur. This axis of the femur with the top of the table, it produces an angle which is called acetabular index. But in this case, it increased more than 50 degrees because there is increased anteversion. Then there is a case, this is called frog leg views, abduction and the external rotation. Then today nowadays we use the CT, superposed CP. This was the same case which you have seen on the X-ray, like this case. So I was suspicious. whether it is inside or outside. So we done the CT scan because of the plaster cast was there, and that indicate again a dislocated hip. But this tool is also used, CT scan, by superposing the femoral condyle with the axis of the femur. So this is the femoral condyle axis. This is the femoral condyle axis and the axis of the femur. You do in same straight view X-ray of the hip joint and X-ray of the knee joint. And then these composition, computer composition will tell you how much this femur is rotated externally and with the axis of the femur. So this figure comes as the femoral anteversion. And then MRI is very less used, particularly if you find a suspicion of the AVN. So here is other imaging tool, which we recently used also in a close reduction case in 3 weeks back in Ziauddin. This is called arthrography. So I was taught by Professor Nizamuddin Jamili in the X-ray department in the ward of Fort UT in 1986, around 86. How to arthrography should be done. It goes through the anterior iliac femoral artery, lateral to the femoral artery, introduce a cannula, that is called, I use the LP needle, introduce, this is the K-wire, but not the arthrogram, but this is the arthrogram, just to introduce. I will show you next, I think. And then you will find a normal arthrogram fully covered with the dye. This is the femoral head, this is the physis. But if it dislocated, this is elongated sheath along the teres ligament, and this is the femoral head, this is the capsule, and here is the labrum, which is inverted labrum. And here is the pulvinar. This black shadow is pulvinar. White shadow is the dye which we use. And again, same here. The labrum, ligamentum teres, and C-shaped coverage over the femoral head and dislocated hip. So this was again a same case in which CT scan we use, and after follow-up, we found a fully there is dislocation here, dislocation in the initially at the after removal of the cast. This went good. So because of this screening protocols, the wide of screening protocol becoming misdislocation is becoming in the Europe. It is only 5 to 6%, and nowadays after 2002 indication there is no misdislocation because they very carefully do the ultrasonography and the bracing in these conditions. Unfortunately, unsuccessfully treated dislocation of hip is more common in the Turkey and the Iran and more in the Pakistan, though they have good protocols. Now Bangladesh also started the good protocol for the screening, but in our country it has been not. So dislocation, misdislocation cases are more than 25%, as were indicated by Zadeh, very popular paper of the Cattrall and Zadeh 2000. But our statistics in 1997 first article when I published, I said half of the children above 3 years of age they present to us. So this is the neonatal screening protocol, which we use neonatal screening for total body screening. And this, I think this is now finishing my talk today. So please follow the link for screening protocol to see how to do. This is my YouTube. You can find this link as well, and screening protocols you will find. And then there is discussion. But I think before this discussion, I try to play video to understand how to do the screening protocols. Okay. Within 2 weeks of the birth, we do this test. And this is the model which I developed, purchased from Dubai, and this DDH model. I'm performing the Artolani-Ballos test on this. So we look at carefully. So this is the brace which we use after the Artolani and the Ballos test. So I demonstrate how to do this. This video is available on YouTube. The positioning. Flex the knee joint. Keep your your fingers behind the sacrum, thumb on the femoral head, flex the knee joint over 90, and abduction, lesser trochanter, greater trochanter, pull and gradually redirect femoral head toward the acetabulum. This is Ortolani. Must redirect femoral head from your index and the second finger, but your other hand is on the sacrum to stabilize the femoral whole of the patient. And find click you will find. This is called Ortolani test. And repeat on other side. This is Barlow's, pushing the femoral head and through lesser trochanter, pressure on the lesser trochanter to dislocate with your thumb. Dislocate, push, dislocate by adduction. This is called Barlow's. Reduce hip what dislocated. And when you combine Ortolani and Barlow's, that is called maneuver of the Barlow's. This is Ortolani. This is Barlow's. Ortolani, Barlow's. Ortolani, Barlow's. I demonstrate this on model because in normal child you should not do so hard. And on other side. And bilateral. You find clicks.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. It was an excellent presentation plus an excellent video. I think our residents and other people also for the first time they were understood how to do an Ortolani and Barlow, and it was an excellent example of demonstrating on a model, sir. So Dr. Nizamuddin Jamili is with us. So we can take question and answers. Can you please type it in a chat box if anybody has some questions? So first question is by Dr. Nadeem. What is the difference between the treatment of DDH and teratological disorders in the early months of life, sir?
So DDH in both groups, I will discuss in the next class. What is the teratological DDH and the idiopathic DDH? Idiopathic DDH is very simple. Teratological DDH is very complex. Hips are tight because the muscle are tight, and except in the spina bifida. Spina bifida, they are relaxed. You must reduce this with the braces. It is reduced, it stays. If it is not stays, the treatment after 18 months is the same as surgery. But in the teratologic arthrogrypal multiplex congenita, where there is a very tight muscles, you try initially to relocate the hip. If it is not, do the adductor tenotomy. Give the plaster treatment. Maintain it for 4 to 6 months. If it is usually this displaces because of the as hip develops because of the tightness, and same is for cerebral palsy. So the treatment difference is in the arthrogrypotic. The surgery is indicated earlier. It is written in the Campbell, tailored with the age and pathology. In teratologic hips, you can do open reduction at the 9 months of the age, while in the normal children, open reduction is after 12 months. Nowadays, arthroscopic reduction is being done. That can be done at earlier stage, not less than 9 months or 7 months of the age.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. The second question is by Dr. Sutesh. What is the sensitivity of ultrasound to pick up DDH? I don't know, he didn't write the age, but he is asking about the sensitivity of ultrasound.
Is very relevant question. It is very sensitive and very supportive and diagnostic scales. Depends on the limitation as I already described. Age limit less than 6 months. Probe initially 12 megahertz and after that 7 megahertz. Expertise of ultrasonographer. Preparation of the patient itself and the result which they produce. So there are 4 limitations. If they are proper, you can get the good sensitivity of the screening. It is nearly 90%, as literature indicates, and it works. It works everywhere.
Thank you, sir. Then Dr. Imran wants to ask how much should be the internal rotation. You have told about the abduction, which is 45 degrees. He just wanted to know the internal rotation in one view.
Normally,
how much should be the internal rotation?
Yes, one Rosen indicates in both. Frog leg position is 45 degrees and external rotation. That is not one Rosen view. That is the external rotation frog leg position. But when you do the one Rosen view, if you do the only abduction of the 45 degree, you will not find the femoral head particularly. So they do 15 to 25 to 4 degrees internal rotation. That is maximum you can do in normal child. 25 degrees internal rotation, you can increase that and you will find the center of the femoral head nearly to the triradiate cartilage. If you don't do internal rotation, you will find the triradiate cartilage, the axis is crossing the acetabulum, not the triradiate cartilage. 45 degree abduction over to 45 degree internal rotation, comfortable internal rotation. ये नहीं कि जोर देके बच्चे को करते रहो पा करता रहे और वो आपको तंग करता रहे.
मजा सर उसी में आ गया वैसे. अच्छा, Dr. Shahzeb wants to ask what is the age limit for doing arthrogram?
Age limit for arthrogram is particularly in the earliest stage, not for the diagnosis because it is intervention procedure. So ultrasound is the best judge. And when you do the close reduction and you are suspecting and must be done, as he has seen me, he was on the one that day. Arthrogram and in particular in the bilateral cases, the arthrogram at the table when you have done the close reduction. And even people do after open reduction, capsulorrhaphy, everything they do the per-operative ultrasound arthrogram. In the USA, in December, I was attending the Pediatric Society meeting. They do MRI at the operation table after open reductions, after close reduction. They do MRI. We can't do operation theater MRI. We do not have. They have availability. That's why they charge 1 crore rupee for one of my patient. So they do the MRIs, but arthrogram can be done after close to see it is. Because initial reduction is very important. If you maintain initial reduction, you will maintain the reduction. If initial reduction is soft tissue interposition between the pulvinar is there, capsule is there, you not have a good reduction, there may be subluxation. There is no age limit. In the open reductions, after capsulorrhaphy, do it. But in close reduction, better to do air arthrogram and the...
we cannot hear you, sir.
It was a question by Dr. Nadeem Baloch for the role of MRI, but you have already answered. It is very expensive, I think. That is only...
Do MRIs to see the AVN in the post-reduction cases. But in the USA, I have seen they do MRI available in adjacent room, same table, they shift there, they do the close reduction, open reduction, and do the MRI to see the initial.
There's another doctor who wants to ask how to check for reduction in pelvic harness.
Yeah, I will show you very detailed my video on the next case. Same Otto Carlos procedure, but no full adduction. In brace, you must train the mother. Weekly, you should check in for 15 days. Then every month till complete weaning is started. And it is easy to presentation. Professor.
You on your wonderful talk. It is, I think, in such a way that there will be There will be no questions in the mind of anybody after your explicit talk. It is very well explained, and I would like to felicitate you on your good talk. Keep it up. I'm absolutely wonderful. You. And then the one point to remember would be Autolani. But speaking on that, hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are listening.
Yes.
We can hear you.
Autolani means on reduction click. So because you would otherwise be confused when you
Okay.
very well demonstrated, very well done. And keep it up. And I'm praying for your good recovery so you can carry on with the good work for all times.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Professor Nizam Jamili. I wish you can hear us. And thank you for joining us and saying some good words about Professor Anis Bhatti. We all here, all the residents, all the participants, we all are praying about your full and complete recovery. And we really appreciate Professor Anis Bhatti for taking out some time, this time, for the residents, despite your condition, despite your chemotherapy. And all prayers are with you, sir.
So we finish here. Thank you very much. If there is no question.
Sir, thank you, sir.
Thank you,
should take rest, sir.
Thank you very
much, sir. See you after 2 weeks and with the part 2, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you
for taking out some time, sir.
Thank you
And
very
thank
much.
you all the participants. And
Thank
thank
you.
you, my team, for arranging all this. And hopefully we will do it in a better way next time. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Sami.
Inshallah.